I can make something like this using loops inspired entirely by my own voice. Do, 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 do. And let's throw a beat in there. For those of you that don't know, I'm Jakey Wakey, your favorite artist that helps you get unstuck and get songs done.
Keep watching to see the new Studio One 7 features used in depth as if you were producing a track.
Now let's dive into Studio One Pro plus 7 plus Pro. We're going to start a new session and use the vocal run template, which is free if you're in VIP Songwriters. Let's call this Studio One 7 Pro Plus Demo. We're just going to get really meta and take the vocal from the video footage that you just saw by clicking this button and create a new audio track. Let's grab a little loop and so that's that. And then one loop that's a bass. Do, do, do. So one of my favorite new features is actually the tempo detection. You can right click on any audio event and click detect tempo and it will analyze and then give you a tempo. This one is giving us a tempo map. It's not consistent, but that's okay because there are a couple of things we can do here. So you can hit tab to go to a transient and then you can splice it right where you are. We just cut the beginning of this off before you used to have to use Melodyne and analyze the tempo in there and kind of do the same thing that we're doing, but this is a little bit faster. So we can select the tempo track, drag this up here now, and it will give us that actual tempo map is of me just mumbling. Do, 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 do. We can see that it goes between 90 and 99. 98 would be a good average. Delete these nodes and select the whole thing and go up or down. And now this loop here that we just created will actually follow the tempo track because it's been mapped correctly. Do, 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 do. Then we have another problem, which is the pitch. And we can fix pitch problems easy with Melodyne, the built-in integration. So it looks like we're in F major according to Melodyne. We could easily use the MIDI from what we just sang, or we can try some new things. Now we should have a loop that is the correct length for a bar. Right click and detect tempo. Now we should be completely in sync with what we had. And let's duplicate it. Normally when we duplicate, if I do something to this section that I just duplicated, it does not affect the original. But if you use the new loop tool and you click and drag at the bottom right hand corner, then when you do an effect or apply a clip gain, it applies it to all of the loops the same. So that can come in handy if you know that you're going to want the same processing on all of these little loop areas, right? So here is the fun part. You can use the Splice feature with Studio One, or if you have Splice, you'll have access to even more Splice loops and samples. Okay, to add a song section, we would open the arranger track, and now we can double click this area that we have selected. We can call it anything we want. In this case, we're going to call it loop. Now we can actually drag this entire section that we have. We could duplicate it, we could loop it, we could do whatever. But something amazing and new is we can drag it into Splice here. And it's going to look for sounds that will go with these sounds. And now Splice sent back this. We can just drag in some of these loops by Splice, and it literally, in almost real time, throws it into your DAW. And let's see what else we got. And we need some drums. So you can actually search by instrument, right? Drums has its own button. And all I'm doing is dragging these loops so that you can drag. Now you can see we have a bunch of loops, and I'm just going to go ahead and make them all the same length for now, just for simplicity's sake. We're going to use this little loop tool to bring out this shorter drum loop here and bring it out to fill in the gap. Here, this is the next big update in Studio One. It is the clip launcher. This looks a lot like another DAW, but it's far superior in my opinion, and let me show you why. You can drag and drop all of this loop. It fills in all of these loops for this entire scene. So when we press play here, it's playing every single one of these loops. It's identical, except the problem is this part is longer and much more fleshed out. So if, for instance, we wanted to hear all of that, we could, with one toggle, we can switch this track to the arrangement window and everything else is playing in the clip window. And then we could make different arrangements by having some of these tracks in both places, having some of these tracks off in the next clip, and etc., etc. Okay, so when we press play on a scene, plays all the tracks in that scene. And you want to go back to having this track from the arrangement window, just hit that arrow. So now, this track will keep playing, and that track will build and want to go, because it's a different scene. My normal workflow would be to duplicate this loop and checkerboard the arrangement inside the arrangement window, but we could do it this way and then figure out like what sounds we like in which scene, and then you can actually drag this scene back into the arrangement window and get a different arrangement, as well as trigger the scenes with a MIDI controller or the Atom. Let's see here, song selection, toggle launcher. There we go, launcher. Yeah. Okay, so it's very simple actually inside of Atom. Or here. That is very convenient. And then it also has a playlist option, which is a playlist of scenes inside of Studio One. Okay, and in this case, the Splice browser is kind of in my way because I don't have enough space on my desktop. So we can actually just detach the entire file browser and I can move it off the screen to a new monitor, which is very convenient because now I have more space for production. Okay. Let's say we didn't really love the drums. We didn't come up with a good enough drum track. Let's go ahead and throw an impact on here. Now I am in the instrument browser on another window, and I'm going to drag and drop impact onto a new track. Oh, let's use one of these Gold BB kits. This comes with Studio One 7 Plus, and let's try out Wadra. All right, let me turn the launcher off. Here, one, it's a cheat code. Okay, I have some pitch bend stuff going on, and I'm going to play some 2, 3, 4. Okay, and as always, if that is too boring, you can add a Kai MPC groove to the loop. So let's go ahead and find a pad in the brand new Deep Flight 1. I'm going to redock this thing so you can see what I'm doing. Instruments, Deep Flight 1. Deep Flight 1 has been around for a while inside of Presence, but they have broken it out and made it its own instrument. And they reworked a lot of the sounds. And before, the sounds were very drony and not really usable to me, but like these are much cooler in my opinion. Let's try to find some pads that work. Looks like we're in the key of F playing some C6 chord. So I could go from here to here to F. Let's find a better sound though. It's cool, it's just out of control. Like, I just want a pad as kind of a pad. I like this. I like that. Let's see which one fits in the track. This 1984 pad just fits the bed nicely. And so let's do something like this. Let me hit record. A little spacey, maybe a little too spacey for this genre. We can check out some other presets. Maybe this is also available. So we can shift the sound based on where we have this cursor. It just has too much delay, I think, and a reverb. Let's just turn those down. And and maybe just pitch all of this up an octave so that it's not too muddy. I'll transpose. And I realized this is starting to sound a little busy, so we would normally checkerboard this and mix it a little more, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to keep going. So in the case that you've come up with a beat that you like and you can't sing that high or you can't sing that low, it does feel low to me. So if I wanted to sing this higher, we do have a global transpose button. For the global transpose to work, we need to make sure we have follow global transpose checked on every track. Okay, follow global transpose is off on drums and on your instrumental tracks. And that's pretty wild. Kudos to you, Personas, Studio One, Fender, all of y'all actually made an excellent upgrade. While I was working on the drums, I did want to show you the cool new integration. You can actually show the impact window in the edit window. And if you stretch this out, you can see all the pads here. So this looks a lot like maybe another DAW. But it's a nice extra feature because the GUI on Impact takes up a lot of space on smaller laptops and computers. It is a nice add. And let's make this beat sound just a little bit smoother than it already is. And it looks like there's a little bit too much hi-hat going on. That's no problem. We can fix that. Before we bounce it down, let's turn on the Kirchhoff EQ with the curve preset. This is a preset from Dave Natale. This live sound very loud. He uses this curve. And you can turn up the music because it doesn't hurt your ears as much. So if you were interested in getting the Curve or the Studio One Vocal Run template, make sure that you are in VIP Songwriters. If you're not ready for that yet and you're stuck in your songwriting, go ahead and grab the Songwriting Remedy. It's everything I know about beating songwriter's block. Take a photo of the screen or find the link somewhere. And if you want to watch me make a song from scratch, there'll be a playlist up here. And if you're having a hard time becoming an artist and holding that vision for yourself, there's another video on the other side.